I'm excited to speak with one of the most adventurous people I know, Helga Mari, also known as Mara, a former professional athlete who faced injuries and had to step away from the sport she loved to find her new calling. Mara's story is one of strength. She went from rowing and living in Norway to sailing thousands of nautical miles. Mara was given an opportunity to live on a boat with random people, and she took it to learn that this is what she wanted to do. She's here to share with us how she navigated these transitions and found a new path. So, welcome, Mara. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so honored to have you on my podcast. Your life took some turns, so I know for a fact that we can and we will learn from you so much and we'll get inspired.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for having me. I was really excited to get your email.
Awesome. So, most of us know that you're a sailor, and you must be a pretty good one since you're about to take part in the Golden Globe race, which is a solo non-stop race around the world. However, I want to learn first about you when you were growing up. I would like to learn more about your life in Norway. And you mentioned that you used to play sport, that you used to be an athlete. However, you never really say what it was, and you never say anything more about it. Could you tell us more now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up my friends always says I grew up in the field in the middle of the forest in Norway. It was far away from any ocean, at least. And I grew up with three of my brothers, and we were always very competitive. I think, yeah, from childhood, everything was a competition. So all of us are athletes, actually, in completely different sports, but we always compete and we always give everything. So that's a family thing for sure. As a kid in the forest, you didn't have a lot of sports to pick between. So when I was younger, I was just doing everything that was possible, which where I come from is handball, skiing, horse riding. It was also football, but I didn't like that. I was the only girl. So in that sport, I was like, nah, I don't want to this time. But I wasn't like, even though I did a lot of sports, I wasn't that into sports before I got a bit older. I was very into learning and school and reading. I loved it. So often when my brothers were outside playing or doing any sports as well, I like to be inside reading. But that to be said, like that's just me comparing myself to the extreme again, like I usually do. I was still outside a lot, and I had activities every single day of the week doing sports. But it was not before I started university. I moved to Bergen that I really started with professional sports. So I went there, and I was thinking, my big dream in life is to be a pirate. So I'm going to start with sailing, and I'm going to start with fencing. And and then I wanted to do all the other sports as well. But those were the two I started with. And I started fencing and quickly learned that I had a talent for it, and I picked it up really quickly. I had a coach that was a previous Olympic medalist, and he said, if you want to make it to the Olympics, I'll get you there. And that was all it took for me to just go all in on that sport. And I was doing that for a really long time. But in Norway, uh, the fencing world is very, very small. It was very often just me at practice. So you can get to a certain point just being by yourself, but fencing is a competitive sport. You're going to fight someone else. So you need to have someone to practice against. So when I had the chance, I moved to Italy to pursue my fencing career as well as doing my master's degree there. And I fenced full time, but 1 year, so in what year is this? 2015, I got an injury in my foot. And I went back and forth with that injury again and again and again. And then like half a year before the Olympics and before the qualifications and everything like that, my doctor said, if you ever want to actually walk again, you have to stop right now. And I had to quit. And that was the first time I had to quit a sport because I was forced to and not because I wanted to. So after quitting that, I finished my master degree, and I was thinking like, okay, what am I gonna do now? It was quite tough because this had been a goal for me for a long time. So I was like, well, I'm not an athlete anymore, so now I'm just gonna do fun stuff like everyone else. I mean, not that sports is not fun. I never felt like it was a sacrifice ever in my life. It was always exactly what I wanted to do. And even if I had to sacrifice other things, I would do it over again like a million times. But I was like, okay, now I'm going to do all the fun stuff. So I I actually applied for a job in Greece on Friday morning. Friday evening, they called me and said, you can have the job, but you have to be here on Sunday. And I just packed my stuff and I moved to Greece and started my new job Monday, which was just wild. Like it was such a big change of pace, but great, great decision again, I have to say. And when I was there, I was like, okay, now I'm an athlete. I have so much time. I'm going to start doing a bunch of sports I can just do for fun. So I started tennis. It's always something I wanted to do. And then after 2 weeks, I was playing tennis like 4 to 6 hours every single day. And it was just all the time. And I realized, you're not done being an athlete yet. Like, you have to get back into the game. And, I got pretty decent in tennis when I was there. I was doing like amateur competitions and stuff like that. However, you can't be good in tennis if you start when you're 25 or whatever I was. So I was like, oh, well, I need to find a sport I can actually become pretty darn good in. So I actually sat down and I made a list of all the sports in the Olympics. And I was like, nope, 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 nope. I can be good in this. I can be good in that. And then I ended up with rowing because my body type fits it perfectly. Um, it's a good team in Norway. I love to be underwater. I love rowing. So I was like, this is the one for me. I moved back to Norway, joined a rowing team, and then I just went all in on rowing. So I was quickly and got in shape, started to learn how to row, started to do competitions. It was a lot of fun. I got into coastal rowing, which is rowing on the open ocean and longer distances, more waves. So I did that parallel with flat water rowing and started to compete in international competitions there as well. Had so much fun. And then in 2020, it was right before the Olympic qualification, and I got injured. Did I? No, I did not. uh, I got a little bit sick. Actually, I moved to Spain and I trained there for 3 months. I was in so good shape. It was right before the Olympic qualification, but then COVID hit and everything is shut down and the Olympics were moved. And I was like, hey, freaking yeah, that's actually nice because now I got one more year to get in really good shape. And then like that, this could actually be really good for me. But then that's when I got an injury a little bit into COVID and I had to take a break and I got back and then I got sick. I got something called tularemia. It was just from a bite from a bug. I got this thing like in Norway in the forest. Friggin' annoying. But I'm traveling so much. At least get something when you're traveling. But no, it was friggin' in the forest. And I went to Norwegian Championships. That went well. But then it kind of hit me and I got knocked out. And I had to take a break. And the Olympic qualification was getting closer and closer and closer. And I knew that if there's any chance at all that I'm going to make it, I need to start training again right now. And I have to go so hard. The chances of me hitting the wall are going to be really big. But it was like either I don't try and I won't make it, or I try and probably still won't make it. So, but at least there's a chance. So I just went friggin' hard, hoping that it would work, and it did not. I got it just did not work. I hit the wall so hard, and I was knocked out for even more months. I missed the Olympic qualification, and also um, in that process, I got an injury in my hand, like an inflammation that had been coming a little bit back and forth, but now it was just really bad. So what year is it now? I don't even know. 2021 probably. And I was like, yeah, I was out of the game for half a year. Got a little bit back into it. I went to Spain, actually competing at the World Championships in coastal rowing for Spain, which is weird because they had a team and I had been rowing with them. And then I went to the European Championships in coastal rowing for Norway, and that went really well. We got on the podium, so that was really cool. But this was really hard for my hand. I knew that okay, I need to take a break and I need to figure out what to do next. So that's when I was like, okay, you know what? This is the time to sail across the Pacific Ocean. And I started to plan for that and set up so I could cross in 2022. Because I needed this 6-month break to be able to heal my hand and to figure out, do I want to continue with rowing or do I want to just do something else? At the same time, though, when I was a bit injured, I started to do bobsled just for fun. I was at my physiotherapist and he was like, oh, I guess you need to find a new sport. Ha ha ha. And then we're like, bobsled. Ha 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 ha. And then I'm like, on my phone, how to start bobsled. So and then I contacted them and then they wrote me back and they were like, actually, we need someone. Can you come? And then I did bobsled for a little bit and we competed in the European Cup. And we were actually really close to qualify for the Olympics in bobsled. And we were like, how the crap did that happen? And so that was actually another thing that I was going to consider in the Pacific if I wanted to continue with bobsled as well and do 4 years to do the next Winter Olympics. So then I went to sailing and I realized that I didn't want to continue rowing. Number one, like because it's not like my hand is still not good, so I couldn't. I absolutely had no chance, but also because it was hard to be over 20 years old and wanting to be new on the national team because they keep telling you, no, when you turn 30, you want to have a kid and quit. So we don't want to put any effort into you. And I'm like, well, what if you should ask me about that? Like, I'm the one that should answer if I want to have a kid and quit the sport, not you. And I've been fighting against that for the entire time I was in the rowing community. And I was just sick of it. I didn't want to have that work against me. And that was something, oh, this is really messy, everything I'm saying now. I'm like jumping back and forth. But when I was in Spain, they didn't care about like anything. They just cared about who's the best rower. So when I was there, they gave me all the opportunities. I was selected to all the teams, and I suddenly felt the power of having a team supporting you in your back. And I became such a better athlete because of it. So when I then got back and I was still met with the like, you're too old, I was like, I can't do this anymore. And it was harsh, but I still want to go back because I love it. I flippin' love rowing, but my injury will not allow me to compete at a high level. And yeah, I'm kind of praising that either I do it all in and I need to try to be the best, or it's like, no, this is only a hobby and I never want to make it into something else to kind of ruin the niceness of it. And for me, rowing has always been a thing that I want to compete in. So it's hard for me to just go and make it something I do for fun. Um, I have no idea where I was going with this, honestly. This is so much babbling. I forgot completely
I
what I was saying.
basically answered all of my questions.
Great.
No, no, that's awesome. No, thank you so much for telling me all that. It's really really inspiring, and you are touching on so many interesting points, and I would like to dissect everything. Uh, so maybe first, I would love to learn more about the emotions, the struggles in terms of like mental health. You said like you got knocked down literally. So how did you deal with all that when you are trying to aim into like pretty high goal, which is Olympics? And
Mhm.
not everybody says at their 20s like I want to take part in Olympics. That's very very bold. And then the your body is against you. How did you deal with that?
I mean, it's hard in a lot of ways, but I think for me, when I have a goal, there's nothing kind of stopping me. So, okay, this thing happened. Well, how do I get around it? And I'm very, like, there's not a lot of emotion connected to it. Maybe it should be a lot more, but I'm very solution oriented, and in everything I do, I just see what is a logical thing to do, and then I just do that thing. So it's, of course, like, it is also the part that it's really hard and it sucks because this is what your life has been about, and you dedicated yourself towards this one thing for so long, and then something that you can't control just tells you you can't do this because you get a stupid injury that you can't really do anything about. And and of course I could start to think, how could I have avoided this, but that's not gonna help me probably because it's there now. So I just need to figure out, can I fix it, or what can I do to make it better, or like to come up with something else. And especially with, for me, when I do sports that I competitive sports, I it's okay. For example, when I was doing horse riding, I never wanted to compete professional because that was something I did for me, and something I just loved it. I loved to be with my horse. I loved to be out in the woods and just run over the fields. Like, it was so amazing. And I didn't want to start competing because I was afraid it was going to ruin that. And I think it would have. So with fencing and with rowing, I approached it in a different way, which was way less emotions, more pragmatic, and more, I'm here, I'm going to get to this goal and like find a way in between it. But when that being said, like, you get a little, you just like reality check because it's like, now friggin' what? This is what you've dedicated your life to for so long. And now that's suddenly just taken away from you. And you have to, yeah, you have to, have to just figure out, like, yeah, who are you now? Almost find a new personality because your personality has been built around this sport that you're doing, and all your friends are connected to this, and like it's like when I had to stop, it's just, okay, this person is dead, and now I'm putting in another scenario, and you just have to build up something new from scratch, which is weird. But I have this it's what me and all my brothers were like this. We think that we are gonna be the best in everything we try. And I think, I mean, it sounds, part of it is just like, wow, such a dickhead. But it's also a great way to move on from something, because I never think that, this was my one thing. I can't do anything else. I'm like, I can do whatever I want and I will make that great. And I can fix it. I can learn it. It won't be a problem at all. And that's given me the courage to just jump into new things because I know it will work out. And I think that's that's one of the things that I like. I really love that I have that attribute that I can do that, because it's both given me the opportunity to do so many different things, and it's taken away the fear of trying new things. And also, like, when you try a bunch of different things, you get better at everything, and then you pick up new things easier. So then it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy that you just get better at things, basically.
Hmm. So do you think you were born with that trait or someone passed on to you?
I think it was passed on to me. I think it's definitely an environment thing. And I, because I see the people around me do the same thing, like all my brothers, my mom, my dad, like they're all very good at just taking on new challenges. And I know this, like the first time that I made a massive change in my life, and I took a big leap. It was, or I mean, maybe it doesn't seem that big to everyone, but when I went to Australia to study, that was, it's a big change. I moved to the other side of the world and do parts of my education there, and I noticed how easy it would have been for me to say no, because it would be so easy to stay at home, because now I have to organize where to stay and how to get there and what subjects to study, and then I have to make sure this was right and that was right. And if I stay at home, that would be so easy. But I was like, you have dreamt of this your entire life, like you freaking go. So I went, and it was the most amazing thing I've ever done in my entire life at that moment. And then the next time a new opportunity came, when I could move to Italy, it was a little bit easier, because last time it went so well. Maybe this time it will as well. And it was so, and then the same thing happened. Like, it was the most amazing thing. And then I got the thing to move to Greece. And then I was like, heck, freaking yeah, let's go. Because every time it worked out. So it's definitely also a learned thing that it has worked out. And I know that I will always figure it out somehow. So, yeah, it's through the people that I surround myself with and through experience. It's just building up, and it's getting stronger and stronger. And it's still, yeah, now I'm just with anything. I'm like, yep, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, I can see that. So for someone who didn't have that upbringing, what do you
Yeah.
think would help them? Like what advice would you give them?
Uh, I mean, I think the thing is that if anyone else on this planet can do it, like, if I can do it, you can do it. It's not that I'm built very, very differently from anyone else. And it's just that I have, like, I work towards something, I've done something, and now I can do it easier. But someone else as well, like, they can, like, everyone can do it, and we're all the same, almost. Like, we're pretty much the same person, or we're built very similar. So it's no reason why I can do it, why you shouldn't be able to do it. But it's flipping scary, and it's not like it necessarily will go perfect the first time, but it doesn't mean that it's not gonna work out. And that's a cool thing when we have people coming here and selling ripple effect. Like, I forced him to just do the craziest things, and we just go on these wild adventures. And they would never have done that if I wasn't here to just like push them outside of that fripping cliff. But now they have to, and then they fly because they realize that it will work. And I know my boyfriend, he had always had this dream of, so this is an example, by the way, but this is real. And my boyfriend had always had this dream of being a helicopter pilot, but then he was like, no, but I can't do it now. I'm like, why not? Oh, well, I don't know, but it's too late, it's so expensive. And I was like, how about you just do it? And then I was like, I'm just gonna Google something right now. And then I found a school close to where we lived. And I was like, here's a school, I'm signing you up. And he's like, no, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, sent, but for an interview. And then he was like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, it's your freaking dream, you just have to do it. He's like, no, I can't do it. And I'm like, yeah, you can. And then he got a test he had to do, and he's like, oh, I need to study. I'm like, nope, you're starting it right now. And he's like, what? Now I only got 1 hour to finish it. I'm like, you don't know what to study for anyway. Like, you don't know, you're not going to know tomorrow what's in this test better than today. He did the test, nailed it. Then he got to the interview, and he was like, oh, I need to prepare for the interview. I'm like, oh, I booked it. It's tomorrow. And he's like, what are you flipping doing? Did the interview, nailed it. Got a spot immediately. And he was like, yeah, but I don't, like, it's super expensive. You have to. I'm like, it's fine. Like, we'll figure it out. Oh, you accepted, you're starting. And he's just like, why are you doing this? And now he finished half a year ago, immediately got a job. He is the happiest he has ever been. He passed every single exam on the first try. He just nailed it, and now he's having his dream job. And he's so grateful that I did this for him. But I'm like, I didn't do shit. I just pushed you outside of this cliff and told you, like, now you fly, bye. And then I left sailing around the world. Like, I just had to prove to him that he had it inside him. So people just need that push. And I have that push inside me. So I jump myself, but not everyone does. So maybe the real tip for people is to find someone that can push you.
So basically everybody needs Mara in their life.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to go back a little bit to your tough moments. I know you have an immense internal strength and you're just, amazing. But have you ever turned into outside support during those toughest moments, like family, friends, I don't know, therapy, or something else?
That's a good question. Because not a lot actually. I've maybe I should have done that more. But I think because I always just kept moving forward, I didn't do that a lot. In rowing, I did talk to my teammates a lot about this age thing because a lot of other people also felt the same thing. Like, if you're not the favorite of the coach, then you're screwed. And so we've been talking a lot about that. But I also feel that those conversations they don't necessarily push you so much forward. It's more you just need someone to gossip with sometimes because you're frustrated. But so my boyfriend, he's always been there for me and been like flippin' supportive, which has been great. He has always, just because he's also an athlete, so he understands the mindset and he understands what it takes and he understands what's frustrating about it. But I think that it's something I'm really bad at is emotions. And sharing emotions and feeling emotions. And so I just don't let it affect me too much. And I think it's a bad thing in some circumstances, because maybe that would have led to another something else happening. Um, but yeah, no, it's I often been very alone in these things. So for example, in fencing as well, I didn't have a big team around me because I moved to Italy, and everyone there spoke Italian, obviously, and I had to learn Italian when I moved there. So I just had to pick it up. Also, because my master degree was in Italian, so I was like, "Yep, I got 3 months to learn this language," and then that was happening. But then it's hard to kind of talk about these kind of things with the people that are around you. So my team in Italy, I couldn't really express any emotion with them because my Italian was not that good at the moment. Like, it was very, very basic. So then I was quite alone in that. But because I had other things happening around me, I just got distracted from those things. And another another thing that I've just realized happened is that when you work out that much, your entire body changes and your hormone levels changes, and you get more testosterone and less estrogen, and that leads to having less emotions. So it's not before 6 months ago that my body is starting to come back to normal levels, and I actually start to have emotions like a woman. And I'm like, what is this? Why? Why do I suddenly feel things? This is weird. Which is, yeah, it's such yeah, it's just a strange thing for me now to actually have feelings towards things. But that's something that has affected it for sure, because I just don't have those emotional ups and downs that might make things feel stronger. I'm just very just male in those things. It's just dead inside out.
You said you were lonely and alone with all those emotions. Do you think you could have performed better if you felt any different about it?
Um, I wouldn't say I was lonely though, but I
Okay.
was alone with emotions, and I do think yes. So, um, I think part of it is because I didn't felt heard in these sports. So, like I mentioned before, when I moved to Spain and I had a team that was supporting me and believed in me, I was performing so much better, and that that was kind of a real big wake up call for me that the people around you and the environment you're in, it's has so much to say. And I was just thriving, and just it was so amazing. Like, it was so good. So then when went back to Norway, and felt that I came back to the same non-supportive environment, it started to be really go downhill. And then when I got injured as well, and everything just like happened, I was like, okay, you know what? This is not worth it anymore. More. And I also think that's why it went so much better in bobsled as well, because it was a tiny team, but it was a friggin' we were backing each other so much, and it was so great to have people around you that believed in you and wanted you there and wanted you to get better. And so 100%, it has so much to say. And I didn't know, because I was so used to it being like that, and I thought it didn't affect me until I realized what it could be like. Um, so yeah, not for sure. It has a big impact. So I definitely think things would have been a lot different if things were a lot different.
I think you're raising and made a very important point here, because we are social beings and we need other people to feel good. And there's this notion now that, oh, first you have to feel good within your own company. Yes, that is so important, but it doesn't mean that we have to isolate ourselves from others, because community is what we need.
Yeah,
So
I totally agree. And I mean, I do agree that you have to be good yourself to be able, at least to be able to be make everyone else around you happy, because it's reflects your inside. But if you're around people that pull you up, that part, it's so much easier to be good by yourself when you have people supporting you versus if you have to fight to stay up.
so true.
Yeah.
So I also want to talk about the loss of identity. You even used that word, that constantly you had to find your new identity. You
Yeah.
mentioned you were studying abroad, so identity of um, international student, then athlete in fencing, in rowing, and then like how did that look for you? Did every transition look the same, or did it differ? Did you learn in the process, and did you redefine yourself quicker or better every single time?
Yeah, so I think that, well, every time I kind of moved to a new place and did a new thing, I realized quickly that I could reinvent myself and I could now just, okay, who do I want to be this time? How can I be better? Because when I grew up, I was always like the quiet kid. I was never any of the cool kids. Like, and that was my identity. How, yes. And also now when I go back and I'm around those people, I like I don't go back to the same person I was, but closer to that versus who I am now, because it's just who I was around those people, and I feel it. But when I then left those people and then I got in a completely new setting, it was really, I thought it was very exciting to be able to just, I could be whoever I wanted to be. And you're also a reflection of, I think, the five people you spend the most time with. So, of course, that will affect who you are as well. And when I spend more and more time with athletes, you start to actually define yourself as as an athlete, and then you make choices that an athlete would make. So, for example, when all my friends went out partying, I'm like, I'm an athlete, so I don't drink. And that's, it's very interesting how you can kind of, you can design your own personality by saying you are something. And I think it's a very powerful tool as well. And people use it, that's what you should manifest things and make affirmations and say, like, I am like this, because when you say it, you will start making choices that will make you that person that you want to be. And I noticed, like, every time I move to a new place, I start a new thing, surrounded by new people, and I can reinvent myself, that I keep the things I want, and then I try to like adjust a bit the things that I want to be different, because it's so hard to change when you're in the same environment, because people expect certain things from you. So if you suddenly then don't want to do that thing anymore, it's really hard. At least I think so, because people expect that I would, no, I'm going to go to bed early, and I'm going to wake up early, and I'm going to work out. And I mean, I still do that. But if I then suddenly didn't want to do that anymore, I would find it very difficult if everyone expected it. Because then they're like, oh, yeah, now you're going home. And I'm like, oh, yeah, maybe I am. Maybe that's a bad example, because it's easy to not do that. But still, it builds who you are. And I never felt like this was a bad thing, but when I kind of decided that I was done being an athlete, then I noticed, but this is this is who I am. Like, this is actually, every time I changed, that I kept this part. I'm an athlete. So to get to that point where such a big part of you is just suddenly gone in so many ways. I'm still like, it's still part of who I am. I still feel like I act a lot like that, but just less, I still work out every day and I still eat freaking healthy. And now I sign up for a race. So, it's not like it's completely gone. But that was a moment where I felt, holy cannoli, like, who am I now and what am I going to do now? So when I was then sailing for 6 months, it was an experiment for me to kind of figure out who I am. And I was maybe acting a different way than what I had before because I was kind of lost in, well, who is this new person and what do I like and what do I do? And I felt like I was a teenager that finally got to experiment with things, And because I didn't do that as a teenager because I was always very focused on my sports. So now I was like, oh, but now I need to do this and I need to do that. And then I was a bit lost for a period of time. And after the Pacific crossing, I went home to Norway and I was like, what am I going to do now? Because sailing was the best thing I've ever done. Like, that was who I am. I can't stop thinking about it, but I have these things at home that I should do. Like, I should focus on my business. I should do this. I should do that. And I was very lost. But then, things calmed down again. And then I kind of figured out what I wanted to do live. And then it settled. And I'm back again to being the person, or being who I always was, but with the small changes that is always happening, of course. But it was a period of time I was like, yeah, I didn't know what defined me anymore because I always defined myself as an athlete. And I didn't have, I wouldn't go up to someone and say, like, this is me. I didn't know. So that was a strange experience.
So, what helped you with identifying that rather than just time? Because you said you were sailing for 6 months and then you realized, but I believe there was something else that probably led you to do that.
I think I needed a goal again, something that I was working towards. Because that's something, when you're an athlete, you have such a clear goal that you're working towards. So suddenly I didn't have that anymore. And when I came back to Norway after the sailing trip, my, like, the athletes thing had always been my goal. And then I could, like, focus on building my company, but it just felt so wrong at the moment. So it wasn't before I came back onto this boat and made Sailing Ripple Effect and creating that my goal. That's when I could be like, okay, I have a thing again. I have something that I can work with and focus on and put my energy into, and I can still I use all my attributes and skills and things. I just had to take it from working on a physical athlete goal to working on a project and putting my energy into that. So that's something that just helped me focus again, basically, and made me come back to, yeah, going somewhere.
I want to also go back a little bit to your identity, finding a new identity and letting go of the previous one. Have you ever mourned your previous identity, or have you ever felt like the opportunity of your big dream, like you're grieving it?
No, I don't, or I don't think I've done that. I haven't, not that I can think of at least, and not in a way that I was thinking this is what I'm doing now. Um, I think in case it would just be a part of that process of figuring out what I'm doing now. But it's since my like now my athlete identity is not lost. It's still a part of me, and it's still such a big part of what I'm doing every day and how I'm living my life. And because it's not just that I'm doing a sport, it's so much more than that. So it's still, as the identity, it's still there, and it's still who I am. And um when people meet me, they still, they're like, oh yeah, you're an athlete, just because the way I work on things and the way I approach different things. So it's definitely like the identity as an athlete still there. It's not dead. It's just the pursuit towards one of the goals. But now that has just changed to another goal. And so with sailing Riplific, for example, like the goal is not anything to do with being an athlete, but it's still, so many things are exactly the same. But instead of just working on your physical uh, strength, you're working on the project. But I feel like it's so similar, everything that I'm doing, that it hasn't really changed my identity.
Okay. And you said that you had fun with bobsledding in
Yep.
one point, and then you suddenly, okay, I'm going sailing.
Hmm.
That sounds pretty, no one just sits and is like, oh, now I have to figure out what I'm going to do with life. Oh, I'm just going to go sailing for 6 months. I would say that, oh, if someone is struggling, like, oh, I'm just going to take some time to myself, maybe, rather than it's like, oh, I'm going just sail. How did that happen?
Well, it's always been a dream to sail across the Pacific. I sailed the Atlantic in 2017 with my best friend. And when that was done, we said the next thing is the Pacific. So it's always been in the back of my mind, and it's been waiting for the right moment. And then the right moment just happened to appear. So it was actually my friend. She said, I'm gonna change my job at this point. So I have an opening where I can go. And then all of this happened in my life. And I was like, well, I guess I can go as well. And yeah, then we did, then we just went basically. So it's something it's always been there. We just needed to find the right timing.
And in 2017, you said you sailed. Did you have any experience prior to that?
Yeah, a little bit. Not on any ocean crossings. I sailed, I think the first time I was 15 with my uncle. We were sailing in Greece. And then after that, I was sailing with him sometimes. And I was looking for opportunities to sail. So when I had the chance, I just found a boat that needed a crew, and I went and sailed a little bit. So I'd been sailing a little bit, like I knew my way around the boat, but didn't have any big crossings and big trips or anything like that I'd experienced. So that was a very I don't know the word, but it was a great experience because we didn't know at all what we were going to with an ocean crossing, because it's very different to cross an ocean versus just cruising from island to island. So it was a very big thing for both me and my friend. And we had so much excitement and expectations going into it. And it was amazing. It was also sometimes like you got this realizations that you're in the middle of the ocean and you're like, what the crap am I doing? I'm not contributing to the world in any way. I'm just in the middle here. It's like nothing, nothing, nothing. And you just want to go away. And then it's like, oh, dolphins. And then you're super happy again. And it's the best day ever. So it's a roller coaster of emotions sailing across an ocean for the first time, that's for sure. But it was it was just amazing, and I'm like, yeah, this is happening again.
Were you ever scared?
No, I I have this stupid. No, it's pretty great most of the time. Like, but I don't get scared, and it's probably most of the time is a great thing, but probably sometimes I should. Um, and I don't know when I'm gonna sail alone, how it's gonna be, but for now, I just don't. And instead, in situation that might be scary, I'm like, okay, how to get out of this, or like how to solve it. And someone else on the boat takes the role of being scared, so I take the opposite role of just like, it's gonna be fine. But yeah, I I I don't get scared, and I don't know how that's going to be when things actually get scary.
Wow, so you're basically superhuman.
Basically, no. Nah, I think I think in a lot of situations it would be better to have a little bit more emotional reactions to things, but it makes it easy.
So, do you think your whole journey till now was exactly how it was supposed to happen, or do you think there is any advice you could have given yourself?
Um, there's probably a bunch of advice I could have given myself, but it's you learn, like you learn from your mistakes, you learn from everything that goes well, and it's led me to this moment where I am friggin' living my best life ever, and I'm just so grateful to be here and to have had all the experience I've had. I don't regret everything. I don't regret anything that I have done, but I'm sure that if I had done something different, I would, like, some of the situations would have been better. Then I wouldn't be here like this right now. If I would be in a better place, I don't know. But I think that I've lived a friggin' good life, and I've learned so much. I've grown so much in everything I've done, and I've always done what I wanted to do, and that's something that is important for me. I don't want to regret not doing something because it was a little bit scary or because it was a little bit hard. Um, if I hadn't done that, then I would regret something. But I always push myself to do it, and I always go for it, and I just go friggin' all in on things. And for me, that's the right thing to do. And yeah, it's led me here, and yeah, I don't want to be anywhere else.
So, you said you could have given yourself some advice. You know, we have listeners who are probably
Hmm.
in a similar situation of like either getting injured or having to change their job, and they do have fears, and they are scared of like changing their identity. What advice would you have for them?
The main thing is, like, it's gonna work out. It always works out, and it's just, if it's it's what is it that they say? If it's damn it, I forgot. If it's not, if it hadn't worked out yet, it's not the end. It's not what they say, but something like that. And that it's like everything I want to tell people. It's so cliche because it's, if you will learn, you'll make it, or you'll learn something from it. It's not, you're not gonna fail. You just, the only time you fail is when you give up. But giving up one thing doesn't mean giving up. It just means moving on to something else. And I think that most people just need a little kick in the butt to do something. And I know, because I'm thinking, like, what's the worst thing that can happen if you try something new? Like, you can always go back to the old, or maybe not always actually. but I'm like, you don't regret doing things, you regret not doing things. And but also real advice though, that is not just super cliche, is to actually try to have a community, find people around you that are like-minded and people that support you, and don't deal with bad people for too long, because in some situations maybe I was staying in too long because I wanted something in these people where they're making it hard for me. It has still, like, still I maybe I stayed in too long, but I did learn something. It made me grow stronger. So it's not that it is a bad thing, but there is so many people out there that would love to be around you, that would love to support you, and try to seek out those people instead, because everyone deserves to be around people that wants to be there and not have to be there and feels like it's not something they want to do. So yeah, and probably try to, like I didn't do, but have people that you can talk to, and that can help you through the tough times, because it is actually true that shared sorrow is half the sorrow, but a shared joy is double the joy. I do believe in that, even though I'm not so good at living up to the sad part, the sorrow part myself. But it's every time I have, it's definitely better.
Thank you. And last but not least, what would you say have been the most surprising or rewarding part of your journey?
I've realized that I love to see other people succeed. And when we're out here sailing, like, I love sailing. I knew I was going to love all of this all the time. But how happy it makes me when the crew comes here and they understand something and they like do a maneuver by themselves, and they're like, they get so happy, like, I did it, it was just like you taught me and I did it, and I'm so excited. And just to see them grow as people because they did something new and they pushed outside their comfort zone, they did the thing. It's so nice. Like, I didn't know how much I would actually enjoy seeing that and helping other people do that. And when I think about it now, I'm like, yeah, well, that makes absolutely sense. That it makes me happy to see them experience the same thing that I've experienced and feel the joy that I feel when sailing. But it's just incredible to see, and it really it underlines as well that part that it's great to have great people around you that make you grow and make you happy.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure talking to you. I think I've learned so much from you, and I hope my listeners, our listeners, learn as well. It was such a pleasure. Incredible story, so inspiring, and I hope we can all push our limits and go out of our comfort zone so we can finally fly.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much for having me. It was really great talking to you.